Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
On a nice, cool fall morning. Hi, Grant, I see you waving online. Nice to have people in the internet space and in the real space. We're going to talk today about TV and film. Well, once a year or so, we talk about TV series we're watching and movies we recommend to each other. And it's always kind of a good way to get new suggestions and recommendations and feedback on what we like and the moral themes are and how we should look at some of these things as Christians. So glad you're with us today. Want to welcome any first timers. Do we have anybody first time in class today? That's all right. Nice to see everyone. And our usual announcements, Zoomers, please mute yourself on the lower left corner of your screen when you're not speaking. And we are recording this for future playback. And I usually say be kind in your comments, but about TV and movies, let's just let it hang out. If you want to say something about a movie you don't like, go ahead. Let it go. Other announcements. Happy birthday to my fellow presenter, Ron Puning, today. How many years young are you today?
73.
73. Good for you. Have a wonderful birthday. And let's see, Vicki is working on coffee duty today and reminds me that next week is our 5th Sunday of the month. And so our class does coffee duty. And if anybody would like to help Vicki next week, she would welcome that, I'm sure. And then we have our class Christmas party on December 12th. If anybody wants to write that down, and I will send it out in an email, December 12th. Details to follow, but we'll be in the library here at church as usual, and trivia and Christmas gift exchange and all the usual fun things. So that'll be good. Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to comment on the sermon today about nonviolence? Thoughtful things. Mark had good perspectives. One I kind of missed him mentioning was about like war, just war theory. You know, when violence comes from a dictator trying to take over the world, are you then justified in using violence to stop violence? And so just thinking out loud, but he didn't go into that today. Yes, Jim.
Many years ago, I heard a sermon. This was probably, I don't know, in the 70s sometime. But I heard a sermon that kind of set me back on my heels, because the subject of the sermon was that the United States and the Allies did not win World War II on the battlefield. That we won World War II with the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan was so revolutionary that we would walk in and repair our enemies, and both Germany and Japan and Italy, and set them on the right, and it changed the course of the world. Which was traditionally after wars, when the enemy is devastated and these countries became productive partners, and it changed the next 50 to 100.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And he got a lot of pressure on that. A lot of people that were veterans of World War II, they didn't like hearing that. But when you stop and think about it, it's a good argument.
It is Christian principles in action to go back and rebuild. Okay, very good. Okay, let's jump into TV series first. And I'd like to show you a little of my simple research on the internet, on what's going on, what's most popular today with TV series, and then let's share what we are watching and what we enjoy. So I'm going to share screen here so our Zoomers can see this. Okay, here is the current year broadcast TV season, top overall TV shows on the networks. The top 2 TV shows by viewership are Sunday night football and Monday night football. 19 million people watch Sunday night football, 9% over last year. It keeps growing. Our football obsession is exemplified on TV. Monday night football, for some reason, is 11 million, a little lower than Sunday night. But doesn't that show what our focus really is? And then you drop down to number 3, which is 10 million, about half as many people as watch on Sunday night football. This show called Tracker. Let me stop for a minute and ask your opinion on, are you surprised that the highest watched shows are football on Sunday and Monday nights? Or Susie says, no, not at all. Is America obsessed with football?
I'm tired of politics.
They're tired of politics, Vicky says. Yes, Helen.
1/3 of our class must be into football.
1/3 of our class today is probably not here watching the Broncos start at 11 o'clock this morning. That's right. Yes. Does anybody want to comment on that from a Christian perspective of, are we worshiping football in this country? Should we, and Steve says yes. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Is it a normal outlet that we should do? Or, some people say we shouldn't be supporting football because of the concussion problems that show up, and so many of these folks die young, and we're not going to solve that today, but it's a question to throw out there. Okay.
Well, football
Yes,
or
Carol.
soccer in Europe is so popular.
That's true.
So it's very.
Much the rest of the world is soccer obsessed. And as much money goes into soccer salaries as they do football, and they're stars that are adored.
I think it's become a real social thing too for people, especially people who want to get together with others and share food. And
Good
so
point,
there's
Colleen.
that need for having a group of people to have social. I think it satisfies that a lot
Mhm.
more than.
May I say something?
Very much a social thing. Yes, Grant, go ahead.
I think it brings a lot of people together from different political points of view, and they don't think about politics. They think about, okay, this is our team. This is the Broncos. This is,
Yeah.
So.
Good point.
Good point too.
It's a distraction from political division. We go into sports division. Go Chiefs.
For somebody that really wants to watch the football game, I don't want to watch it with anybody else. I just want to watch it and not talk.
That too.
Don't talk, man. Don't talk.
No talking. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's go on into the number 3 through 10 network shows. Tracker. And that is a new show starring this young fella that was in This Is Us, popular TV show. He is a tracker of lost people, and it's a very popular new show.
It's good.
That's streaming.
Is it good?
Yeah. I think
Is that
this
streaming yet,
different
Steve?
than-
It looks good. Is it streaming yet?
I don't think it's streaming.
Next week or in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be on TV again.
How many watch Tracker here? Anybody? You guys, quite a few.
Yeah,
You like it? It's a good show?
it's a good show. Yeah.
What do you like about it, Joy? What's good? The characters or the guy? He's a handsome young hunk, huh? Okay.
Real violence cute, not like some of the other, yeah, he's not shooting everybody and he doesn't, I don't think have a gun, or if he does, he hardly uses it, so. He solves the problems without, he'll beat someone.
Good. Non-violent guy.
But, it's not as much shoot 'em up as some of the others.
Yes, okay. Any fans of NCIS? Long
Yes.
time show that's on?
I think it's
Uh-huh.
on ABC.
Uh,
Are you sure? It's on
CBS, okay. Young Sheldon, a comedy, the only comedy that's there. Anybody watch Young Sheldon? You like him, Steve?
Absolutely, love that show.
It is a funny
Yeah,
little
they've got a couple
character.
of spin-offs too now, so it's.
Uh-huh.
Steve, it looks like
But he's grown up.
somebody's waving.
Yes.
The bottom.
Kind of hard to be young.
On the
He
bottom.
was waving.
Anybody online want to comment? Okay,
He was waving.
FBI on CBS, longtime one, Chicago Fire, Blue Bloods,
That's canceled.
just recently
Yeah,
canceled.
Yeah, and look at all the people that watch it.
And they're
and then
still
they-
watching.
And they've canceled, of course, it's been on like 12, 15 years.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Number 9, 60 Minutes, the only news show. Amazing, still has 8 million people that watch every week,
Yeah.
including Jim and I, yes, but down 6%. It's not continuing to rise, down 6% viewership. And then Ghosts, also kind of a comedy. Anybody watch Ghosts?
Oh, yeah.
Is it cute? It's about a goat, a bunch of ghosts in a house that interact with people that live in the house, something like that. Okay, very good. We will do that. So just to sum up that, football leads the way, dramas like NCIS, one comedy about Young Sheldon, and one news magazine. No reality shows are in the top
Good.
ones that are watched until you get down to the 6 million viewer level. We still like traditional entertainment. In the 18 to 49 demographic, Sunday night football as usual dominated up 6% from last year. And CBS delivered 13 of the top 20 non-sports entertainment programs. So for some reason, CBS has a lot of success. Most watched returning comedies. Young Sheldon, number 1, Ghost, number 2, The Neighborhood. Has anybody watched that? I think it's about racial integration, whites and blacks in a neighborhood, and kind of a comedy on how they get together. Bob Loves Abishola. Anybody watch that one? And The Connors. Wasn't that the Roseanne show, The Connors, until Roseanne said bad things and got fired and
Yeah,
left, and now
then they brought it back again.
brought it back. And new comedies, just to mention briefly, Extended Family. I haven't watched that. Has anybody watched that?
Well, obviously it's canceled, so nobody watched it.
Yep, it got canceled after one season.
Yes.
Ghosts and Krapopolis. I haven't watched that one either. And I'll just flip through this quick. Most watched returning dramas, NCIS, FBI, Chicago Fire. These that have been on for a long time and have 8 million or more viewers. Anybody want to really recommend those? Vicky likes Chicago Med. Good show. And most watched new drama, Tracker, Elsbeth.
She's pretty
Yeah, that's-
funny.
Anybody watch that one?
Yeah.
She's a quirky character.
Yes.
Does she play a lawyer?
No,
Um,
she, for, the police department,
Oh,
but it was
okay.
kind of a convoluted thing how she got there, but now
Okay.
she works for them this year, cause it was last year.
She played a wacky character on The Good Wife, I think.
Yeah, well, she's
Didn't she?
wacky in this one.
Same
Okay,
The same character.
Yeah.
NCIS and The Irrational. Never heard of The
Oh,
Irrational.
that's a really good one.
What's it about, Susan?
It's about this professor and he's a psychiatrist and he teaches in a school and he helps the police department solve crimes, but he does it like more philosophically and, that is a really good one. Watch that one. And his sister's involved in it and she's.
It's on NBC.
The Irrational.
Irrational. Yeah, it was really good.
It's kind of an irrational name to have. But
Channel is it?
NBC.
Oh, NBC, yeah.
Not sure when it's on.
Well, this hasn't started yet, but it'll be
NBC.
back on it.
Okay, all right. Most watched reality show. They call them unscripted shows, but that's probably not true. Probably they have some kind of script of the ways that they direct people and what to say or do on those reality shows. Number one, Survivor. Anybody watch Survivor? Big, do you? Okay,
Where they go,
where they go.
the island, it's always an island.
Uh-huh.
And I like, it's kind of like.
Is that the one where they kick people off the team, vote you off of the team of the island?
But it's not.
Well, it's the most popular reality show. And then number two at the moment is it was the Golden Bachelor. And currently it's the Golden Bachelorette who was on last night. There's a picture of her. But Vicky and I watched a little bit of the Golden Bachelor. Did anybody watch last season, The Bachelor? Nice fella in his 70s probably. Thought he found the woman of his dreams and they got married, and 2 months later they announced they divorced because they weren't as compatible with their lifestyles or schedules as they thought they would be. But what do you think of that? What do you think of, was it a believable show? Did you believe that they were really falling in love? Is that a good format? Or is it not believable? Is it all just show business and nothing? Yeah.
See any unattractive girls. I only see these, with the blonde hair, they're in
Yeah.
their 60s or,
Yeah.
real attractive and skinny. I don't see any normal people. Like normal.
Good point. Well, here, and exactly to that point, Susie, here's the Golden Bachelorette with her golden hair, her long flowing locks.
She's 60. I didn't look like that. I wasn't that much good looking at 60.
She's too young.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be like 65%.
Perhaps she's had a lot of work done.
Perhaps.
Maybe so. Number three, Dancing with the Stars. Anybody like dancing? Do you?
Yeah, they had that girl on the other night, and remember she went to jail she was Russian and she went to jail for scamming all those people.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so she has a bracelet on her ankle.
Yes.
Monitor, and so she's dancing around, and what's the lady, I forget what her name is, she said, well, I noticed when you started dancing, the whole room kind of went, well, you're doing okay, like they didn't really want her there, and
Yeah.
yeah, she is,
She's the-
yeah, I bet she gets voted off the first day.
But it got you interested in watching, and
Well,
that's
I
the
watch it
point.
anyways,
Yeah.
just to see what's going on. I've watched it for years.
Yeah, 6 million people watch. American Idol and Jeopardy Masters. Anybody a Jeopardy fan like Vicky and I are? What a great show Jeopardy is. Still, after like 40 years it's been on.
Yeah.
Most watched canceled shows, just for those who like to know what was canceled lately. Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
Finally ran out with Tom Selleck. NCIS Hawaii.
That show.
That was a good one,
Yeah,
like the
I like
Hawaii setting. So Help Me Todd. I never watched that one. CSI Vegas
I like that one too.
and The Good Doctor,
I like, yeah. Yeah.
the crime shows.
I think the good doctor got written off because he grew up and he became the chief of staff.
Oh,
Chief of Staff. It was on for like 10 years, wasn't it?
yeah.
Vicky and I watched it a lot. It was a good show. Okay. Cable streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, all these companies now, they're called streaming platforms because they stream out whenever you want to click on your show. You don't have to wait for it to come on at a certain time. You just click on it and it streams like a river right out of your TV.
Like a river.
Okay, Netflix top shows of this month. Just share with you, see if we watched any of these. The Perfect Couple, a limited series, is the starring, who was it, Vicky? Nicole Kidman. Right, as a lady with a dysfunctional family, and there's been a murder in the family. And to figure that out. Anybody watch that?
Pretty typical.
Enjoyed that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve, is that the one, isn't one of the characters Bono's daughter, like Bono be?
I did read
Yes,
that.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah,
He has a daughter who's an actress. I read that too, Mason. Uh-huh. Mhm. Emily in Paris. Anybody watch that series? 4 seasons of young girl in Paris. Lots of good, lots of good scenery of Paris. Prison Break, that's one from years ago that I guess just came to Netflix about a guy that's in prison and on purpose and trying to break out a friend from prison. Selling Sunset, I'm not familiar with, and Chaos. Sounds like something from Spy, a spy thing. Okay.
I watched a few of the series of Selling Sunset, but it was scripted.
Oh, it's a Selling Sunset Boulevard real estate in Los Angeles. Is it- How was it phony, Jim? A realtor?
They would get on the phone and say, oh, yeah, we can do that for you, and, they won't do this, and we just claim they're not doing honest negotiations.
Oh, it's all for show.
Just like that in 30 minutes.
The whole deal's done in 30 minutes.
If only, right?
Well, Jim, you should do a Selling Denver show and you could be the star. Oh. How many folks watch the renovation shows? House renovation shows. I think those, I didn't look it up, but I'm sure they are very popular. I would think they have millions of viewers. There's so many of them on too. Vicky and I watched one called Maine Cabins. That's kind of fun to see what they build in Maine on the coast. And then there's the one with the lady in Waco, Texas, Magnolia lady. She's probably Joanna Gaines. Uh-huh. This Old House, still.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
It was very instructive.
yeah.
Yes, one of the more useful reality shows, kind of.
PBS.
On PBS, right? Yes,
More honest.
yes, true, okay. Couple Netflix TV series. Yeah, let's talk about those for a minute. I just listed some that Vicky and I have been watching and would like to get your input and thought too. Gentleman is a new one about an English estate where there's a marijuana farm. And the young guy inherits his father's estate and finds to his surprise there's a marijuana farm on it. And the family dysfunction that comes from that. So it's interesting. I found it interesting. These are all limited series. Baby Reindeer just won a bunch of awards on the Emmys.
Yeah.
Anybody watch that? Want to tell what that's about? What it's about, Vicky?
Oh, it's pretty crazy. It's about a young guy that is a bartender and wannabe comedian. And a woman who he met online comes into the bar where he's working, and he's kind to her, so she starts stalking in a crazy way, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And I don't see anything redeeming about it except for the fact that the man who plays the lead role in it, the bartender, was also the director, I believe. And he, when he received his award, said, I would have never believed that one day I'd be standing here speaking. He said, a year ago, 2 years ago, I was on the streets, I was homeless, I had this idea, somebody bought it, and it took off. So kind of a success story for that, but it's.
They won lots of awards. There's some appeal there. Griselda, anybody see Sofia Vergara as a drug lord? This is a few months old. I watched it and she was, really did a wonderful job and she was dressed or makeup to look, much less attractive than she normally is. But true story about a lady, that came to Miami and became a big drug lord. And
I
it's
watched one episode.
about Miami there.
So violent.
It was
Oh,
pretty
it's
violent,
very
Carol,
I
that's
could see
right.
more.
Yes, but something different.
It was different.
And then Call the Midwife. Anybody like Call the Midwife
My favorite.
besides Vicky?
Alice loves it.
Does Alice like it? I cannot understand what those folks say because their English accents are so thick. I have to watch with the caption on. But it's a cute show set in the fifties probably, in England, so gives you that different time period too.
On PBS first?
It was, I think it
I thought
started
so.
out.
It was on PBS.
It still
for a long
is.
Time, yeah.
Oh, and I've got it listed on Netflix, so, you know, a lot of these shows start and have a couple seasons on their original
Yeah.
platform, and then Netflix buys the rights and replays them the first couple seasons of these shows.
It was.
Yep. White Collar, about a young guy, who's a white collar criminal who gives up the life and then goes to work for the FBI to help catch other white collar criminals. So kind of different thing. Anybody watch that? It's pretty creative. Bridgerton, the kind of big sweeping English fantasy. Becky, how would you describe it?
It's just fun to see the period close.
The period close, and kind of English aristocracy. But it's also created by, this lady who created a lot of black shows on TV. And so half of the cast is black and including, the royalty, and half is white. And so they call it the grand experiment, I've noticed in the show. Can the blacks and the whites get along as royals and others? And so then they intermingle and interdate. And it's kind of a fantasy, but also has a racial message to it too. And I think there's a spin-off series or two from Bridgerton also. Last couple to mention, The Diplomat with Kerry Russell as an ambassador to England, from America to England. Only had one season,
Yeah.
but was very popular. And she was very, Casey, you'd enjoy it, Ron, I think, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why they stopped that because
Yeah.
didn't they end it, without a real ending?
Yeah,
Right.
I thought they
as
were.
far as I know, it's gonna go on and they're filming other
Oh, are they? Okay.
seasons. I think so.
I thought the acting was really good
Mhm.
and the plot lines were very good.
Lots of good twists.
Yeah, very good. choice.
Mhm. And one called Your Honor with Bryan Cranston as a judge whose son hit and killed somebody with his car. And so the judge covers it up. And
I thought it was.
It's just mean.
he was mean,
Oh, it's a mean show.
mean show.
Really,
But good premise and it makes you ask, what would you do?
Because they show him as a very humane judge.
Yes,
A humanist in the beginning, but it's interesting to see the transformation. That
Yes.
Goes on, and there's so many unexpected things that happen in that, so I kept my interest.
and as I remember, the boy that was
Yeah.
killed in the car accident was the son of a mobster.
Yes.
So the judge knew if he let his son go into jail, even to be processed and held, he would have been killed by the mobster's associates. So that was even more pressure on the judge to save his son. But it just led the judge into more and more trouble as the truth came out. It was really a good show. And The Crown I had listed last there. And Bridgerton listed twice. Did everybody see The Crown here about the English royal family? very highly rated, especially the last season that had, was it, Diana, Princess Diana, her story, and her sons about that too. So I think that's over now. But there are some to watch. Were some of those new to you? Yes, Jim,
Yellowstone's not up there.
Oh.
that's true. Yes, Yellowstone with Kevin Costner as the grumpy ranch leader in Montana.
And
Anybody?
the other one that's out there is the last 4 episodes, or the episodes of, I lost it. The time traveler woman.
Outlander.
Outlander. Yes,
That was really big, and everybody's tapping their foot for the last episodes.
yes, they are, including me and Vicky. We love that show. And it starts up again in November.
Oh, does it?
That's it.
Yes, the next season. is in-
Outlander.
No, yeah.
There's only 4 episodes left. As far as I know.
Yeah. So speak to
I'm not sure, okay, but I know it's
Because
still,
all the series had 12 episodes in it,
Right.
and the last one only had 8.
Right.
And they
Uh-huh.
kind of left them out there and twisting in the wind.
Winding down.
And so-
Yeah.
frustrating how they do that with shows now. They just release like half a season and make you wait 6 months to get the next half. And there, yeah, but that's a terrific season show. Yeah, okay. I want to take a break from sharing here and ask our folks online to chime in on some of those shows. What did you watch? What do you like? Grant, how about you?
Well, I noticed that you don't have anything about some of the old shows that we used to watch back in the 70s and 80s. I like to watch reruns of Frasier. I like to watch reruns of MASH and Seinfeld. I like those 3 in particular. I like those. And then there were some shows that I've watched. Longmire was a great series about up in Wyoming and so forth. Showed the interaction between whites and Native American on reservations. And then just a recent one was Dark Dark Winds, which that was really good. And it basically there were 2 people on Longmire that starred in that. So I think they had a lot of the same, maybe the same writers and stuff. But I always go back to some of those reruns. I just can't stay away from those 3 in particular. But I just love them. I mean, I can watch them over and over and over again. And
Thanks for sharing. And if you haven't seen them for years, it's fun to go back and they're kind of like new. If you want to just pull them up and watch WKRP and laugh at some of the characters in the seasons.
Dark Winds though was not that long ago.
Yeah,
Recently.
that's a new one.
That's new, and they already had it on for 2 seasons and then they didn't redo it anymore.
Mhm.
And that was a really good show.
And that was created or produced by Ann Hillerman, who was the daughter of Tony
Yeah.
Hillerman, who wrote all those Navajo
Yeah.
books on the Navajo reservation. So it was really good. I thought it was excellent.
Good. Good. We'll give that a try. Anybody else online want to chime in?
Yes.
I might take it on myself to ask Susan about TV shows in Canada. What is TV like with entertainment in Canada? Are there many original shows? Is it mostly American shows? What's it like, Susan?
We have all the same US networks and streaming networks, and we have some additional streaming up here through the broadcast services that support the nation, Bell and Rogers. But CBC, Canadian Broadcast Corporation, produces a lot of new programming, and sometimes they get picked up by the Americans. Kim's Convenience would be an example of that, if anyone see that, but they don't get picked up as often as we'd like, unfortunately. But they're, we have the same.
Okay, thank you. I know a lot of American shows are filmed in Canada. It's cheaper. They go to Toronto and Vancouver, we've heard, yes. So you see that a lot of them. Yes, Ann has her hand up. What are you watching, Ann?
One thing that Canada gets way before us that we don't get until a couple years later is Heartland. I really like it because I taught horseback riding and therapeutic horseback riding I was trained for anyway, but yeah, they don't show it. And my favorite ones conflicts with church. CBS Sunday Morning News with Jane Pauley and 60 Minutes are both my favorites.
Yes. Good. Let's mention any more of those so we can share with folks. TV shows. One of my favorites is called Firing Line on Friday nights at 7 o'clock. A lady named Margaret Hoover interviews people. It's on PBS, so she's a very fair interviewer, I think. 2 nights ago, Friday night, she had on Bill O'Reilly in a very combative interview in which she asked him about his treatment of women at Fox News. And if you want to tune in and see that, it was really interesting. You can just find that online by calling up Firing Line and then the episode from this last Friday night. Yes, Carol. 2020 is still very popular.
The other
Yep.
one, Frontline, which is on PBS.
Frontline, PBS, always good.
Awesome. And they cover a certain topic every time and they go into depth with it. It's really good.
Susie.
Every year they have it, it's a different story, but it's from Fargo. Does anybody watch that?
I think I did.
The TV series Fargo.
Well, last year, John Hamm was on it and he was the really bad guy.
Yes.
And another year, it was a different story. And so it's just so many weeks, but they're true stories. And that is really good when it comes on in the winter. So it's Fargo.
Okay.
I think it's on FX I think it's FX.
It's very much like the movie Fargo.
Well,
Same tone, right?
same tone, but it's not always in South Dakota or North Dakota. They were in Minneapolis another year. And it was about a funeral director and the lady that was poisoning the patients. And it was like 1950, and it was really, and that was a true story. And it was really good.
That's even
They were making
scary.
their own clients.
Yeah. She
Okay.
thought these people should die because she was a nurse in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Good.
They were creating their own clients.
But that is a really, if you see it again, advertised, do watch it because it's
Okay.
really entertaining.
Thank you for that recommendation. Okay, just
The
go ahead, Joe.
Fargo episode or the Fargo series that they had this year would tune in pretty nicely with the sermon this morning. Because
Okay.
they had, the bad guys really lost, but this one bad guy, and I don't want to move. I can't tell this without spoiling it for people that were good, but there's one guy that's evil personified.
Okay.
And the very ending episode would just put an exclamation point on Mark's sermon this morning. And I don't think I want to go any further. It was
Okay.
really right up the back.
Good. Made us curious.
Oh, was that-
Okay.
Who's John Hamm?
Okay,
Yeah.
Amazon
The
Prime.
guy in the end,
Yeah,
at her house.
with
Yeah.
the biscuits in his teeth.
Do I, Carol?
Back up one.
Back up.
Yeah, that was a point.
And all the light you cannot see.
That's a great movie.
That was
Yes.
excellent. The book was
Just two of the
great.
movies on Netflix that Vicky and I recommend. One is called Hitman with Glenn Powell as a college professor that's catching hitmen. And it was just funny and twists and not a typical hitman violent kind of movie at all. But if you see that one on Netflix, give it a try. It's funny, fast, different type of movie, Hitman. And then All the Lights You Cannot See. Everybody see that one about World War II?
Yes.
That was a good one.
And the lady is.
The lady is blind in World War II. Yes. And then a couple of Amazon Prime series. We have to mention Chosen because that's the only really religious-based popular series currently, and it's in season 4. Has high viewership among non-denominational folks in America. And I've been watching it.
Really well done.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought so too. Uh-huh.
Really very expert,
High quality, good stories.
yeah.
And different, not just traditional stories of following Jesus and what he's saying, but also looking at it from different perspectives. So if you like that at all, give it a try. And then 2 foreign ones that Vicky and I really have enjoyed: Hotel Portofino, about an Italian hotel lady that runs an Italian hotel. And the Durrells on Corfu, an English family that moves to an island off of Europe, and about their family. So those are 2 that are worth your time.
Excuse me, Steve,
Okay,
you're not, the screen isn't sharing.
It's not, okay. Thank you for letting me know. Let me try it again.
Well, Steve, you need to read your emails.
Read my email. Okay. Is it sharing now? Is the screen
Yes.
sharing now?
Yes, Steve, yeah, thank you.
Good, okay. All right, let's move over into movies and some of the movies that are on Amazon Prime and Netflix. Thelma, has anybody seen the 90-year-old lady who gets revenge on a scammer? Really cute. Did you like it? It was a cute idea. Yeah.
And it was cute.
Yeah, and this is the trailer or poster for that. Thelma got scammed and she tried to go to the police, and the police said, well, we can't help you. Everybody gets scammed. And so she took it upon herself to track down the scammer and go find him and get her money back. It was a cute idea.
And she did.
And she did. On the opposite end of that, was kind of a comedy.
Yeah.
The new Richard Gere movie. We haven't seen Richard Gere for quite a while. Is in one called Longing, where didn't he and his wife lose a child? And
No. He found out that he had a child,
he
a
found
son,
out
that he didn't know he had.
who had
until
died.
after he died.
That's right. And so then he and his wife, ex-wife befriend another couple who lost a child also, and so they deal with, I won't give the whole thing away, so they deal with that. Okay, and then one called Bike Riders for my friend Steve Horst.
Finally, a movie that I can relate to. So I've seen this 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah, my mom went down to Alamo and they sold out several sections just for our
Good,
club to watch.
your BMW
Yeah.
club.
BMW Motorcycle Club, and we say BMW stands for better men and women. We're better than Harley, certainly. We're not a gang. We're gentlemen and gentlewomen that are part of my club. One of our members, however, is about 67, and he was raised by his father because his mom kicked him out. She was part of the gang here in Colorado that was started called Son of Silence, and Carl is our main guy. And he's a gentleman and he's a Democrat. It's amazing, but he's had a tremendous transformation. Wasn't schooled, was actually raised by his father in a motorcycle gang, and he's part of our leadership, and that we all adore him. Yeah. Great show, and we were all surprised by the murder at the end of this show.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's about a bike gang. Is it in the 50s and 60s?
Yes, it's
something like that.
60s.
Yeah, but they're not really. It's kind of a character study of guys that join a bike gang, and they're not really intending to be criminals, but they get pulled into that life. And it's starring the guy who starred as Elvis recently, and so he's a star, handsome young guy. So it's really a good character study.
It is. And our only crimes are speeding, basically.
Speeding is your only crimes. Good.
And
That's good to know.
Haven't been through Morrison lately. There's a friggin' trap. Every one of us has gotten busted in Morrison. We're trying to figure out.
Yeah. Okay. Another one that I watched was called Civil War with Kirsten Dunst as a journalist in America in the near future when some of the states try to take over the federal government because of the dispute between Republicans and Democrats just gets worse and worse, and so it finally erupts into violence. And so she travels through the Civil War dystopian America. Kind of interesting and sad to think that something like that could happen. So somebody envisioned that. Yes, predictive could be. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then Horizon, Kevin Costner's Western, was released to the theaters and only made $23 million before it was pulled from the theaters and went straight to streaming. So his 3-hour epic, some folks liked. Vicky liked it very much. I didn't like it as much because it was rambling and the characters, you couldn't really follow the characters very well. Yeah, my opinion. And then there was kind of a homemade movie called Fly Old Bird, kind of shot with a handheld camera by amateurs about 2 guys that go to visit the Ark Museum in Arkansas, I think it is, the Noah's Ark Museum.
Kentucky.
Kentucky, right.
Harrisburg, Kentucky.
Yes, Kentucky, right. But an interesting little movie and a good example of how amateurs can shoot a movie even on their iPhones these days. And if it works, if it's good enough, you can get it into the movie theater process and get bought by streaming things on TV. We've got 12 minutes left. I've got just a couple more to share with you. Apple Plus, there's one called Palm Royale with Carol Burnett in Miami Society that Vicki and I watched and thought was really funny and creative, and about a lady who comes from kind of a trailer trash upbringing in the country, and she wants to be part of high society. It's this blonde lady on the right named Kristen Wiig, who was on Saturday Night Live. And she works her way into Miami society, where Carol Burnett is the matron of the society. And so 93-year-old Carol Burnett has a role here and is pretty funny in it. Anybody seen that on Apple Plus? Apple Plus is going to cost you like $6 a month, but it's easy to sign up and cancel if you're interested to watch that. And I know it's a hassle to do that. You have to sign up for something and then cancel it, but we've done that a few times. So that's a fun one to see too. Okay, I want to share with you, if I can pull it up here, the top movies of this year. What is the highest grossing movies of this year? I'm going to have to stop share screen for a moment to do that, but it's interesting to see what is the highest movies. Sorry, when you get too many screens open, that's not it. When you get too many screens open, you have to figure out which one it is and then try and pull it up. There we go. Okay, let me see if this will open for me. Okay. Whoop. Open, please. Okay, top grossing movies. Hang on just a second. Now I need to go back and hit share. Share screen. There we go. Okay, can you see share screen now? Folks on Don or Grant? Okay. Okay, let's try to guess what are the top grossing movies in the theaters in 2024. Inside Out 2 is the top grossing. Made $652 million. And that is a cartoon movie about, whoop, don't do that. A cartoon movie about teenagers trying to blend into society. Something about that. I'm not sure.
It's a Disney.
Did you saw it?
I saw it. It was excellent.
Really good?
Good, yeah.
What's it about, Joy?
Their emotions
Okay.
and young kids, it might go over their head, but
Uh-huh.
older,
Relates to adults too.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Worth adults seeing too? It was really good. It's worth adults seeing it too when it comes
I saw
to
it.
us.
so-
Okay. Yes, very good.
I thought it was good. I thought it was gonna be a kid's movie, but it's
But it wasn't a kid's movie. Okay. Good.
teen movie, but
Okay.
They don't understand all the stuff that goes on.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, that was a Disney movie. Second one, Deadpool and Wolverine, another Disney one about they are superheroes, I think, aren't they? Anybody see this? These are two characters that have been in separate movies. Wolverine was the guy with the claws, I think, and they put them together in one movie, and it's been a huge hit. And then Despicable Me is a cartoon movie.
Yeah.
Dune Part 2 from back in March was a huge hit. And then Twisters from July
saw
was a
that.
big
I
hit.
saw that.
How did you like it?
It was cute.
Was good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cute movie.
Was it kind of like the one 30 years ago,
Similarly, it's kind
About-
of advanced with,
Twister Chasers?
yeah, that's the premise, but
Uh-huh,
yeah, it was cute.
uh-huh, okay. Beetlejuice just came out, it's a big hit. Godzilla, Kung Fu Panda, Bad Boys, Planet of the Apes. It Ends With Us, about abusive boyfriend. A Quiet Place, Ghostbusters, If, and so we get clear down to Willy Wonka,
Wait, the Fall Guys was good too.
Fall Guy,
Yeah,
okay.
the Fall Guy that was pretty interesting. There was a lot of
Stunt,
Stunt stunts in it,
actors,
but,
okay,
right, it kept
It
you,
was good.
oh, I did see it twice, actually.
okay. But isn't it interesting that of all these, you don't really get into any adult classic type of stories like you used to. You don't get Casablanca, you don't get Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Those days are gone. The top ones now are children's movies and superhero movies, some horror movies, Furioso, and then poor Kevin Costner, the big star. You get clear down here, number 36 is Kevin Costner. Out of all those, yes,
Both were pretty good. Yeah, that was good.
that was an adult movie. That's
Yeah,
true.
that was
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay. Just wanted to share some of those with you. See any that you want to point out? There's the bike riders at 46, Steve Horse.
It's too far down.
It's too far down for Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, but that gives us an idea of what kind of movies are going these days. Okay, any you want to recommend of those that you see? Who goes to the theater? Anybody here go to the theater routinely? About 4 of us, once in a while.
Reagan, that was a good movie.
Okay. About Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, I want to share with you here a little about how movie theaters are doing.
Not very well.
Not very well. I want to try and share again screen here for just a moment. They are trying to catch up to their pre-pandemic performance, but they expect a good future, actually. CrossScreen.com, a media analytics firm, sums it up this way. Demand for movie theaters has been on a consistent dip thanks to online streaming platforms, which has taken away, and also because of the pandemic, which caused people to stay home, and many continue to stay home. Most significant drop in performance amid COVID-19, which fueled at-home viewership. pandemic created disruptions to the industry temporarily closed, which resulted in industry revenue plummeting 73% in 2020. Although the industry experienced robust growth in 21 and 22, as restrictions eased, it still has not come back to its pre-pandemic level. And says popular films attract audiences, so movie theaters are trying to get the most popular films, of course, and not just let them go to streaming, because now they've got all these streaming platforms that are bidding against the movie theater companies to get the rights to show these things. So it's not like the movies automatically go to the theater. Now the companies that make them want to make the most money that they can. So a couple quick questions. Big screen TV is like being at the theater. Big question number one, how's the box office performed this year? Quick answer, it's down 18% versus 2023. So it's had a dip this year.
But we're not over yet.
Well, we're not over, right? And big question, what drives the decline in box office revenue? We've dropped nearly 4 trips to the movies. We've dropped from nearly 4 trips to the movies per year to less than 2. The average movie goer used to go 4 times a year. Now they go less than 2 times a year. And in the 1930s, the average American went to 30 plus movies a year.
Well, when you have a 3-inch television,
It's not the same.
big screen.
Right, right. Okay. And I'll wrap up here. Top grossing movies of all time. Anybody surprised that it's called Avatar, about the blue people?
Where's Barbie on there?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, where's
Avengers,
Barbie?
Avatar, the sequel, was up there, one of the top ones. I guess Avatar has a huge following. Titanic, Star Wars Episode 7, Avengers, Spider-Man, Jurassic World, Lion King, and another Avengers. There's the Avatar. That's the biggest movie of all time, but measured by revenue. Yep, I would have thought it was something else, but that's the time we are in.
Barbie.
Barbie and Oppenheimer were a couple of the biggest ones from, the last few, but they are still not up to the all-time highest revenue projections. Yeah. Okay. Anyone want to guess the all-time highest revenue producing Christian movie, Christian themed or religious themed movie? I just looked it up yesterday.
10 Commandments.
The 10 Commandments from 1958, around there, made 166 million at that time. And it's never been equaled by anything recent, including The Passion of the Christ, which was a big hit, for Mel Gibson years ago. So the top 2 all-time Christian movies, 10 Commandments and then Ben-Hur, a few years later. Those 2 made
Chariot race.
the Chariot Race. Yeah, made so much money back then.
I was going to
Yes,
say
Graham?
Ben-Hur. That's
Ben-Hur was
it
number 2.
brought in Christian ideals, and so forth.
Religious movie, Bible movies. Yep. But then it gets into other ones recently. Jennifer Garner had one out last year called Miracles from Heaven that made it into the top 10 Christian ones of all time. And of course, their numbers are much lower. But interesting that movies from 1950s still made so much back then that they are the top religious movies. All right, any final thoughts? We're out of time.
Is there still a projection screen? Would they still project movies on the screen, or is that all digital now? And are films actually made with film anymore, or is it everything digital? What's the technology?
Everything's digital.
I think everything's pretty much
But we still
digital.
call it film, but it's not.
Yes, it's not actual film like it used to be.
Is there still a projection house?
Well, yeah, they have to project it.
But is it projected from a reel to reel?
No,
No, it's not.
it's got video projection.
That's a good question. Or whether you just come shoot up on this, the
Yeah.
back of the screen like a TV screen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
Yeah,
Kind
probably
of like in
so.
our auditorium, it's projected from up in the balcony. Same
Yes.
deal.
Yes.
But you don't hear that ratcheting, that reel to reel.
You don't hear that. Long gone.
Times change.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Ann, did you have your hand up before we
Yeah,
go?
I was really sad to see the Shea Artiste close. It was around for 52 years and they had a lot of foreign films and films that you maybe wouldn't see in the multiplex. And they would always personally introduce their films usually. That stopped maybe a year or two ago, but it was a really small local theater and they were only given 1 week's notice that they were closing. I went on the last day that they were open.
Oh, that's neat.
Estes Park.
Yep, a lot of the old theaters are closing. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Theater at Sixth Avenue in Downey.
Yeah.
Okay,
I used to go.
Yes, Squire.
And watch
That's another one.
7 cartoons and then a serial. And then watch a regular project one of the regular movies. And my mother or father had to come over to the movie and dig us out of them. We were in there with popcorn and bubble gum all
Right.
over.
Yeah. Yeah, what's
The
the price
Esquire
of
Theater
How
was
good.
$10 a
What's
box.
the price of pop?
okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks for sharing. Hope you got some good recommendations. Take care.
you,
See you
Steve.
next week.
Bye. Bye, Dad.
What's next week?